It's Wednesday, October 1st. In the headlines, National Works Agency is assessing road damage following weekend rains. Members of Parliament warned no tolerance for habitual absenteeism or lateness. In business news, Supreme Court overturns ruling on local rum classification. Regionally, 4 Caricom states launch full free movement. And in sports, West Indies win their final match against Nepal, but Nepal takes the series 2-1. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The National Works Agency is currently assessing the damage to Jamaica's road network following heavy rainfall that impacted several parishes over the weekend. NWA Communication Manager Stephen Shaw confirmed on Monday that a significant number of roads have been affected with varying levels of damage reported. Several roadways in St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and St. Thomas have been severely impacted, with some reduced to single-lane access due to debris and structural issues. The NWA is continuing its evaluations and is expected to provide a more comprehensive update once assessments are completed. Jamaicans applying for U.S. visas now face a hefty fee increase. A new $250 surcharge takes the cost of a standard tourist visa to $435 per person. The surcharge comes under the new U.S. immigration law, the One Big Beautiful Bill, and applies to visitor, students, and work visas. The U.S. government says the charge is meant to curb visa overstays, but refunds will only be available under strict conditions. Immigration experts say most Jamaicans will simply absorb the cost, though it could affect low-income travelers and family visits. The law also imposes new fees for asylum seekers, including $100 to file, and charges for work permits, creating potential barriers for vulnerable Caribbean communities. A strong bipartisan warning has been issued to members of Parliament. Habitual absenteeism and lateness will no longer be tolerated as the new legislative year begins. The message came from a Deputy Leader of Government Business in the House, Minister Robert Morgan, and Leader of Opposition Business Philip Polwell, who jointly addressed the issue following Tuesday's opening ceremony of the orientation for members of Parliament at Gordon House. Long criticized by the public and civil society groups, poor attendance in Parliament, particularly during debates and committee meetings, has plagued Jamaican politics for years. Committees are widely regarded as the engine room of Parliament, where laws are reviewed and government expenditure is scrutinized. However, past reports have revealed that some members rarely participate in this vital work. Mr. Polwell says the opposition has taken a firm internal stance on the issue.
Well, as part of my own orientation with my members, we made that point absolutely clear. We are not going to tolerate absenteeism. In fact, we are insisting on punctuality.
Minister Morgan, representing the government side, shared the same sentiment and acknowledged past shortcomings.
There is always room for improvement. We know that there are some members who did not attend as much as they should, but I think we're turning a new leaf. It's a new parliamentary group. Everyone has been renewed in their mandate, so there will be efforts.
The administrators of Gordon House have been working to modernize the operations of Parliament through expanded use of technology. aiming to boost transparency and efficiency in the new legislative term. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, has reaffirmed their commitment to improving the facilities while addressing the opening ceremony of the orientation of members of Parliament in the House on Tuesday. Mrs. Holness says the use of digital tools would enhance public access to legislative activities and improve overall functioning of Parliament. In the previous parliamentary term, several key technological upgrades were implemented at Gordon House, including the installation of an $18 million Televic D Cerno conference microphone system. A hybrid meeting format was also introduced, allowing MPs to attend committee meetings virtually. Addressing both returning and newly elected MPs, Mrs. Holness also reiterated her commitment to upholding fairness and order, while reminding them of their responsibility to represent the people of Jamaica with integrity.
Your role extends beyond debate and legislation. We are all here to protect the interests of the people. We are advocates and decision makers whose work shape the future of the nation. It is our collective duty to honor that trust with integrity and diligence.
She notes that the orientation session is designed to equip members with a deeper understanding of parliamentary procedures.
This orientation session is designed to prepare us for the journey ahead. You will hear today how Parliament works, the role of committees, the critical importance of the standing orders, and the support available from our skilled parliamentary staff.
Deputy Leader of Government Business in the House, Minister Robert Morgan, and Leader of Opposition Business, Philip Paulwell, both spoke of the importance of the orientation session.
I think it's very important that we have an orientation session for new members, and thankfully we have had some of the previous members here as well, because it gives you an opportunity to understand how the House functions and also introduces you to the important staff that is there, the clerk, the deputy clerk, the various auxiliary workers who are here to assist us in doing our job. So it's a very important exercise.
The orientation is very important because members need to know from early the rules governing their conduct in the Parliament, and oftentimes people can get those wrong.
We caught up with one of the newly elected MPs, Ms. Nikisha Burchell, who represents St. James Southern, and got her thoughts on the session.
I feel this kind of orientation will get us ready for just the practices, the procedures, what governs Parliament, but also will help to get people settled into the role quicker.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency has expanded its reach, opening 2 new child-friendly spaces in St. Anne and St. James. The move is aimed at better supporting children who face trauma.
Today, the CPFSA proudly opens 2 additional child-friendly spaces. So currently we have 3 child-friendly spaces, but today we are opening 1 additional child-friendly space in St. Anne and another in St. James.
When a child interacts with the child protection system, that alone can be traumatic. So we have ensured that our child-friendly space is outfitted with toys, books, everything that can help a child to feel comfortable and to know that this is a safe space, a space where they are protected and where they can freely engage with professionals.
This is a part of our broader mission to increase the number of child-friendly spaces across Jamaica. What we intend to do, we intend to have a child-friendly space in every parish across Jamaica. As you are aware, a number of our children are suffering from various forms of traumatic situations. And when they do come to us, we need to have that space where they can feel comfortable to sit, to interact with our team of psychologists and to speak freely and comfortably.
Creating child-friendly spaces is very important for our children, especially when they're coming from different traumatic backgrounds, different experiences that they may have had. So the aim of the CPFSA from this perspective allows children to just be themselves, to have that space where they can relax their shoulders, where they don't have to feel as though they're under pressure or they have to behave a particular way. What this does in turn is allows the interviewer to hear some things that children may not ordinarily say, because these children have to always be protecting themselves, preventing themselves from saying certain things. So now in a space where we allow them to just be themselves, it actually creates that sense of, I'm amongst people that really want to help me. And so child-friendly spaces allows for that, allows for them to just feel free to explore different areas that they may not be able to explore, in different themes coming out in play. And so overall, it's a very, very good space for children to interact and be free.
We want to ensure that we do everything possible to make the lives of our children much more comfortable when they come into care, and to give them that environment where they can speak freely and feel comfortable while they interact with us. That is our goal, to transform Jamaica, to transform the lives of our children, one child at a time.
Jamaica has been tasked to work alongside New Zealand to lead the process of reviewing the 80th session of the UN General Assembly mandates. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, made the announcement at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief, explaining that there are about 2,000 of these yet to be implemented mandates. She says Jamaica will be working with member states in order to propose a way forward. In the business report, the court blocked a move by members of the local rum industry to define Jamaican rum as only rum aged in Jamaica. The September 19 ruling overruled an earlier decision by the Registrar of Industrial Property last October, a decision that would have impacted national rums of Jamaica. The company, which ages a portion of its rums overseas for logistic and market reasons, was recently granted interim relief by Justice Carencia Brown Beckford in the Commercial Division of the Supreme Court. Factories Corporation of Jamaica Chairman Littleton Shirley says clients have been given more time beyond the original 3 months to outfit their operations, and work is progressing steadily. He expects several businesses to begin operating at the urban center in St. Thomas in a few months. Meanwhile, in response to criticisms from the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation that the lease rate of $10.3 million per month is too high, Mr. Shirley insisted the figure is reasonable based on the investment. He also suggests the corporation could share the space with other entities to help reduce the cost. In the meantime, the Factories Corporation is finalizing agreement with China Harbour Engineering Company to build another urban center in Bound Brook, Portland, at a cost of $4.2 billion. Let's take a look at the movements in the financial market with Denise Williams.
For the trading period ending September 30, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Investment regulator Jamaica Stock Exchange with 51,220,789 units traded, representing 38.76% of market sales volume. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited Jamaican dollar shares 20,732,689 units traded, representing 15.69% of market sales volume. Gaming and entertainment company Supreme Ventures Limited shares of 10,478,606 units traded, representing 7.93% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On September 30, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $48.18 million purchased and US $49.5 million sold by forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.99 per dollar, selling the US at $161.22 and buying the US at $159.23. The Canadian dollar netted forex traders $1.89 per transaction, with selling at $116.51 and buying at $114.62. The British pound yielded forex traders $6.35 in profits, with selling at $216.88 and buying at $210.53. For our credit report tip of the day, ambition is energy. It pushes you to dream big, sketch business ideas, and plan investments. But when it's time to move from vision to funding, lenders don't just measure your passion, they measure your proof. And the first proof they check is your credit report. That report is your opening handshake with the bank. It tells them if you pay on time, if you manage debt wisely, and if your money habits are strong enough to handle more capital. In other words, it's not just a piece of paper. It's the scorecard that decides whether your dream stays on hold or gets the green light. If you want capital to flow your way, you can't sit back. You must take deliberate, consistent action to shape your credit report into a document that banks can trust. Every payment you make, every balance you reduce, every account you manage, these are moves of power that turn your ambition into bankable reality. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. We'll see you soon.
In regional news, 4 Caricom countries are taking a historic step in the regional integration today, October 1. Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have implemented full free movement of their nationals. This means citizens of these states can now live, work, and remain indefinitely in each other's countries with access to health care and public education for their children. The decision was endorsed by Caricom leaders in July and falls under the Enhanced Cooperation Protocol, which allows smaller groups of member states to advance integration ahead of others. Authorities say extensive preparations have been made for a smooth rollout, including registration systems, security checks, and compliance mechanism for travelers. Oversight will be supported by Caricom Impacts through passenger data monitoring. Other Caricom states will continue under the existing regime for skilled workers, services, and business operations until they decide to join the full free movement arrangement. Addressing the country on Tuesday, Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley outlined how the new Caricom free movement process will work. Prime Minister Mottley says the immigration will log the details electronically, with the information shared securely across national agencies. She notes that children will be registered in schools through the Ministry of Educational Transformation, while healthcare access will be provided on the same terms as citizens.
Fellow Barbadians, friends all, good evening. We are on the cusp of a change that will touch the lives across the Caribbean region and strengthen our nation at home. I know some of you feel excited. I also know that some of you do feel anxious. You have questions. You want to know exactly what will happen and how it will affect your family, your job, your children's future. All of your questions and feelings are valid. Tonight, I would like to speak plainly and respectfully about what begins tomorrow, the 1st of October 2025. From tomorrow, nationals of 4 countries, Barbados, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Belize, will be able to move among these states with the right to live, to work without a work permit, and to study on an indefinite basis. We call ourselves pioneers because we are putting in place a regime which I have every confidence that others in our Caribbean community will join in due course. Some of you say to me, Prime Minister, we already allow 6 months. Yes, we have. For many years, Caricom nationals have been granted stay for up to 6 months on arrival, subject to established exceptions in our law. It has worked. But the promise we made to ourselves in the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas was always about more than a visit. It was about allowing our people to move freely, without hassle, across our family of nations. The heads of government asked who was ready to begin. And Barbados, yes, raised their hand. My friends, we are ready. And as a nation, Barbados, we need it. Let me make it simple. Those who are nationals of any of the other pioneering countries will present their passport when they arrive in Barbados. I refer, as I said, to Belize, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The immigration will record their entitlement to indefinite stay in our electronic system. The information is then shared securely with the national agencies that need to know so that our visitors can move forward in an orderly way. If they intend to reside and work here, the next steps are clear. They are guided to register with the Ministry of Labour, with the National Insurance Scheme and with the Barbados Revenue Authority if they intend to work, as is the case with all Bajans. Once we are working, we work and register at the National Insurance Scheme and we work and register at the Barbados Revenue Authority. Even if you pay no taxes, you register and file. They will also be directed with respect to national registration and obtaining national identification, which is necessary in any event to register at the National Insurance Scheme and at the Barbados Revenue Authority. So they will be able to function as residents do, working lawfully, opening up a bank account, paying statutory contributions, contributing to the Resilience and Regeneration Fund, and doing the ordinary things of daily life with clarity. In other words, positively contributing to the social and economic fabric of our land, Barbados. Children who need school places will be registered through the Ministry of Educational Transformation in the same way that ordinary Barbadian citizens are registered to be able to enter school. Access to emergency and primary health care will be on the same terms as citizens. We will do this with order, with respect, and with the commitment to fairness that we expect for Barbadians in Dominica, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in Belize. This is who we are, and this is who we have been for decades when we have allowed so many who moved here from St. Lucia and St. Vincent in the 1970s to help with the sugar industry. When we saw Guyanese move here, we have always been able to integrate them into our society. Friends, if you choose to exercise your own right to full freedom of movement in Dominica, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or in Belize, you will enjoy the same right to live, to work without a permit, and to study on an indefinite basis. This is not a one-way arrangement. This is a regional road, and it runs both ways.
Guyana's tourism drive has hit a stumbling block with a Level 3 U.S. travel advisory urging American citizens to reconsider travel to the country. But Tourism, Industry and Commerce Minister Susan Rodriguez says the government is actively pressing U.S. officials to have the classification reviewed.
Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Susan Rodriguez has confirmed that the government is actively engaging U.S. officials to address the travel advisory currently placed on Guyana, which has been flagged as a major concern for the tourism and investment sectors.
The issue of the travel advisory was raised at the public consultation that I had with the hoteliers and the tour operators. Since then, I have engaged the U.S. ambassador I've written to her, I've spoken to her as well. We had a very good conversation. She has pledged that she will work with Guyana to address some of the concerns that may have caused these travel advisories. Guyana is at a level 3 right now, which says to reconsider travel, and that is a major hurdle for the tourism sector and the trade and commerce.
Currently, Guyana's level 3 ranking poses a significant hurdle for the country's fast-growing tourism industry and wider investment climate. The advisory cited violent crime, including armed robbery and murder, while pointing to limitations in law enforcement resources. It also warned visitors to avoid traveling at night, exercise caution at ATMs and banks, and refrain from displaying valuables. But Rodriguez argued that the advisory does not reflect Guyana's current security landscape.
The statistics show that serious crime has decreased in Guyana. So we just want an opportunity to present that data so that we can have our threat level lower.
The minister has also engaged the U.S. Embassy's Department of Commerce and is working closely with Home Affairs Minister Onej Waldron and the Guyana Police Force to strengthen security assurances. The government's push comes at a time when tourism is playing an increasingly central role in national development and economic diversification. Despite the travel advisory, Rodriguez said Guyana continues to record increased visitor arrivals each year. The ministry is now rolling out new strategies to not only showcase Guyana's unique hospitality, but also guarantee visitors feel safe during their stay. For Newsroom, Isanella Patwo.
In sports, we begin at the wicket with cricket. West Indies came out with a 10-wicket victory over Nepal on Tuesday in the final T20 International, preventing a historic whitewash and showcasing the potent talent within their ranks. But despite the emphatic nature of the win, the result does little to overshadow Nepal's landmark achievement in securing their first ever series win against a full member nation after claiming the series 2-1.
Nepal posted 122 all-out, with opener Kushal Bertels top scoring with 39 of 29 deliveries. They struggled for momentum throughout, facing disciplined spells from the West Indies bowlers. Ramon Simmons was the standout with 4 for 15. Supporting him was Jediah Blades with 2 for 20 as they stifled the Nepalese batting. Despite some early intent, Nepal collapsed from 60 for 2 to 122 all out, losing 8 wickets for just 62 runs in the middle and death overs. The West Indies held their nerve despite dropping 2 catches. In reply, the Caribbean side turned on the style. Amir Jangu blasted an unbeaten 74 of 45 deliveries, including 5 sixes and 6 fours, while Akeem Ogis supported with 41 not out of 29 deliveries. Jangu brought up his 15 38 balls and finished the chase in a flurry, hitting 5 sixes in his last 9 deliveries to seal the win with 46 balls to spare. The win came after the Caribbean side had already lost the 3-match series, with Nepal having convincingly won the opening 2 fixtures. The result denied Nepal a historic clean sweep over the 2-time T20 World Cup champions.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.